Welcome to ET with GOTB Euro 2025 Match Day 6. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
And this is Extra Time with GirlsontheBall. Coming to you once again from our Airbnb in Zurich. I think that is always going to be the case when we've got 6 p.m. kickoffs because we tend to head straight on after the games so that we can listen to the 9 p.m. kickoffs or catch the 9 p.m. kickoffs. In my case, I got half on the radio, half on TV tonight. So yes, you might be seeing more of our Zurich Airbnb. I went to a very, very rainy, thundery ton today to cover Spain versus Belgium. You were here to do a couple of Lionesses media bits and write a match report for the second game, which was Italy versus Portugal, drama-filled game there. Even though I knew it was going to rain today, I still don't think I was quite prepared for the thunderous downpour in Thun. I think it would have been a very beautiful venue had it not been raining because it is surrounded by wonderful mountains, really tall, very dramatic mountains, which I couldn't see because of the mist and the rain and the thunderclouds. But luckily we are going back to Thun, which is a real tongue twister, and hopefully we'll be able to see it in nicer weather. Day 6, back again with Group B, Spain, Italy, Belgium and Portugal. As I said, I had the 6 p.m. kickoff between Spain and Belgium, which was a game I thought would probably go slightly differently to the way that it actually did go, sort of. The game finished Spain 6, Belgium 2. Mateus with the brace, Paredes, Gonzalez and Pino with the goals for Spain, and Van Havermaet and Eulings for the goals for Belgium. This was a wild game, but not if you're a fan of defending. I think it was a case of just out-attacking the other side, which I think in a game like that...
Not just out-attacking, literally just not defending.
But just in a game like that, Spain are always going to out-attack more than the other team, just purely because they've got so much quality up front and so many players who can score wonderful goals, which I think we saw today. But I think Belgium definitely offered more than Portugal did.
Yeah, I think it showed that Spain can be got at, and that they can be got at when you are good on the transition, when you break the midfield area, when you kind of have the runners on. And Paredes, when she's on the pitch, she really does struggle. We've seen it game in, game out, where she struggles when there's a pacey attacker running her directly. So I think that pacing behind is a key for anyone trying to play them. I think the problem for Belgium is that they're equally frail defensively and can fall apart, and they don't know how to hold it together. I think prime example was when they equalised for the second goal to make it 2-2, and then literally within a minute later, or something, 2 minutes later, Spain had broken down the other end to score. I think that shows the kind of naivety that they have within the team. So maybe it shows more, experienced teams or higher up teams who have more defensive nous about them, that they can get something from Spain. I think there's certainly holes in the Spain performance that maybe were covered over a bit by the Portuguese performance because Portugal never really got at them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. With Belgium, I think you have a very good game plan, but if you need the team that are able to be disciplined for the full 90 minutes, and I just don't think they were able to. It was a weird game. Putellas finished off a lovely ball from Lopez to put them ahead in the 22nd minute. Literally less than 2 minutes later, Van Havermaet scored from a corner. Paredes then got them back in front late in the first half with a header from a corner. And it felt a bit like we had a game in our hands come half time. It was only 2-1. Belgium felt very much in it, and they did come out and score the first goal in the second half to make it 2-2. There was, of course, a VAR check, which I think we've had in every single game now. Nearly every time anyone scores a goal. But Eulings did get the goal, and again, it was that example of a ball over the top, a direct runner, really strong, shirking off the defenders around her to finish it. So it was a very, very good goal.
And then Tessa had that goal ruled out right in the second half.
Yeah, but literally 2 minutes after Eulings scored, Gonzalez scored.
Yeah.
So literally it was like ping pong at times. So and that was a Putellas assist. I think she's the first player to have 2 goals and 2 assists in a single match in the Euros, which is pretty impressive. But yes, there were goals ruled offside. Belgium definitely had opportunities to score more earlier on in that second half. There was a 1v1 where the player kind of, I can't remember which player it was, but just nudged the ball ever so slightly too far forward to the on-rushing goalkeeper. There were moments they were getting in behind, but the longer the game went on.
Yeah, and I think that Tessa example is another example of the long ball over the top, because it came over the top, didn't it? And she put it away really well, and she just straight offside. So Spain are there to be got at defensively. It doesn't mean to say that they aren't very, very good in the attacking sense. Yeah. And I was very pleased to see Claudia Pina get off the mark as well.
Yeah, although I do feel like with that goal, everybody, including me and everyone in the stands and everyone on the pitch, just kind of stood and watched her score. Like everyone was just stationary watching her shoot.
But they did that for Mariana's goal as well. Literally, there were about 4 defenders in the box and they just watched her put it in the back of the net.
You cannot be static. You cannot give a player like Pina space because she's going to put it in the back of the net in wondrous fashion. That is not to take away from the goal, but I just think it showed that their defensive discipline. It was a combination of, once Spain kind of had that let off of the goals that were ruled offside with the opportunity, they put their foot on the gas and the defensive discipline faded, I think, for Belgium. And I think Spain then just got a couple of quick goals to just kind of put the nail on the coffin and put the game out of reach for Belgium, and it just kind of pulled the air out of their balloon a little bit at times. And when Spain are in that kind of free-flowing movement, then when they're going goal, they just kind of tails are up. They're almost impossible to defend against. But still, like even Patea's second goal, lovely, cheeky little goal, but equally one of those borderline lucky where the kind of ball was just bobbling around the defence and you're either just hoof it out, don't kind of take that time.
I think Patea's expression at the end said it all. She sort of had a little bit of a disbelieving, I mean at the end of the game, disbelieving Rice Smart, a bit of a chuckle to herself about how chaotic that game had been.
Yeah. So yeah, not what I was expecting. 8 goals. I did think at one point it was 9, but it pretty well got ruled out. But 8 goals in one game was absolutely ridiculous. It did not make up for the rain, because it really did, particularly in that first half, absolutely shut it down. I want a good. It does mean we're going to get into the permutations now of this group at the end of it. But I wanted to shout out Mariam Taloba, It's a shame that Belgium are exiting so early because I was very impressed with her. Down Belgium's left, I think it was, if I get that right, she was having to deal with Anya Bage, so not an easy task, but I was very impressed with her. And there's little stars that you're just kind of picking out from teams that maybe you don't get to see as often, so she was one that I wanted to shout out. In the other game, it ended Italy 1, Portugal 1, Girelli and Diana Gomez with the goals. This game started off fairly routine, fairly quiet, fairly even, each side kind of having pops at each other. I think Italy maybe with the better chances at the beginning, but Portugal constantly looking dangerous. So
so I think he went more defensive than before. Understandably, they conceded 25 in the last 5.
Maybe stop switching your goalkeepers up so quickly.
Well, no, I think actually the goalkeeper made a big difference. This time around, Patricia Moraes came in for Inés Pereira. She made her 99th appearance for her country, so very, very experienced. We also brought in Anne Borges and Michelle at the back, 2 very experienced. I think Borges has like 186 or 87 caps for her country, and Michelle has something like 69 or 70 or something like that. So very experienced defenders, and I think that's exactly what they needed to try and shore up. And both Borges and Jacinta, before the game, talked about how they needed to start quickly and not concede early, which is what they've been doing. That's what they've been causing a ton of trouble in recent months. So they managed to, I kept writing down in my notes, not conceded for 20 minutes, not conceded for 30 minutes. They were really, really disciplined defensively, and they had most of the ball, but they just didn't really create much with it. Whenever they were in possession, Italy was so well drilled to drop back deep, and they stopped those balls in behind. It stopped the run of Diana Silva, kind of those pacey forwards who love to be on that transition run. So
Kiki Nazareth started as well.
Kiki Nazareth was great for her. It's her first start since March. She was actually starting. It was her return game against the team that she made her senior debut for.
Oh wow!
Which is a weird quirk of the thing. But yeah, Italy had the best chances in the first half, despite not having so much of the ball. Girelli could have scored 2 times. 2 huge saves from Moraes as well. The one at the end, she turned around to the Portuguese fans behind the goal and just gave them a massive fist pump. And she was celebrating a goal herself. It was that much passion in it.
We've seen a bit of that across this tournament. I've quite enjoyed it. Belgium were doing a lot of that when they scored, really geeing up the crowd. We saw it with the Finns as well. It's really kind of geeing up their travelling, passionate fans, which is quite nice to see. So it's cool to see it again.
From a goalkeeper as well. Yeah. They don't get to do it that often. But I think it just showed how much keeping a clean sheet, especially in that moment, that was like the 46th minute. And as we know from the Spain game, they concede early and they concede at critical points in halves or like in the final minutes of games. So the fact that they managed to go in with a clean sheet gave them a real platform, I think, to build on in that second half.
Something the commentator on the radio kept touching on was the fact he said he didn't think he'd ever commentated a game with so many centurions on the pitch, which kind of showed the amount of experience for both sides. Came alive a lot more in the second half, and it's funny because at the end of the game everyone was kind of saying, oh my god, that was the game of the tournament. And I think again it's an example of recency bias, similar to when we watched England play, where you kind of just react to the most recent part of the game you've seen. Probably wouldn't have said that in the first half, but in the second half,
and probably not for maybe the first 15 minutes of the second half. But then Girelli does what Girelli does, and I mean, she's one of my favourite players ever. She's ridiculous. She's 35 years old. She's playing like she's 25.
A possible goal in tournament contender.
She's like the top scorer in the Serie A this season. So at 35, that's pretty ridiculous. And I think she was determined to stamp her mark in this tournament. And the way that she scored it was Viv Miedema-esque. The way that she cut inside and curled it into the top corner, and she just kind of almost burst into tears. I think she really understood what that moment meant, and obviously she thought she'd sent Italy through to the knockout stages, so maybe preempted that a bit. But yeah, the delight on her face was great to see. And there was a time where she was being phased out of this team, and she's come back in under Sonson. She's wearing the armband this tournament. She's still that real leader for them, and she has so much experience, and it doesn't look like, she's tiring at all, so long may it continue.
Yeah, it was an absolutely wonderful goal. Her teammates were delighted. She was delighted. She needed a minute almost to compose herself, which was, lovely to see. They're the kind of magic moments in tournaments that you always think back on. Portugal then did look to have equalised within, 5 minutes or so, less than, almost straight away, with Dolores Silva, but it was ruled offside. It was Diana Silva, ruled offside. And initially when we saw it, we kind of thought, oh my god, I can't believe it, what a goal, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as they showed the replay, we were like, nah. It was tight.
I don't know why they took so long, because you could clearly see it.
The longer it went on, the more I thought, are they seriously not going to give this? And I actually tweeted, if Beth Mead was offside, that was bloody offside.
You could see it on the first replay that she was offside. But yeah, it's a shame, because she did obviously Diogo Jota's celebration, which is really touching. And then you have to scrap that and then go again. And for many teams, like you would expect of Portugal, given their recent, form and history, that you would not have that energy to pick yourself up and go again. You kind of go, well, that happened. That's a massive blow. We're not getting back into this. But no, they kept it up. They kept pushing Italy back. They kept threatening from like set pieces and corners and stuff, and that's how led to the equaliser.
It felt a bit like towards the end of a boxing match when both fighters suddenly find that extra energy and just start swinging, and that's why that last 20 minutes just felt so exciting. Gomez managed to put a kind of a looping effort over the head of Giuliani in goal. There was no questions about that one. It was definitely. I think she kind of shinned it, to be honest. It was a bit of a.
It doesn't matter, it goes in.
They all count. But it was an absolute gut punch for Italy.
And for me.
And for
not
Sophie.
Because I actually I do like Italy, but not because I didn't want Portugal to do well. But I was writing a match report, and an 89th minute equaliser just changed. It's not like a normal match report where it changes a little bit, but this changed everything because it changed the whole permutations of the group. So my whole ode to Christian Girelli got scrapped, and I had to very, very quickly try and rewrite it.
And then the drama wasn't finished because Ana Borges decided to shove Bonacea into the sideboardings. Well, she was already on a yellow card, and the referee decided to give her a second yellow.
I don't think it was a yellow.
And she was sent off. So
she missed the last game.
Yeah, and you had to factor that into your piece as well, which was very annoying. But yeah, both sides traded blows. Italy created chances still at the end, and so did Portugal. saves in the kind of final dying minutes. You really thought that someone could come away with those 3
It was
points.
dramatic.
Yeah, but it ended 1-1. And it means for Group B that Spain are through to the quarterfinals, Belgium are out, Portugal have kept themselves alive in the group with the draw, but they will need to beat Belgium and hope Italy lose. Italy will need at least a draw to get into the knockout stages. Have you got that? Spain, yes. Belgium, no. Italy, Portugal, maybe.
I think
Italy just need a draw. Portugal.
I think where Italy will be, they'll be feeling devastated about that and the manner that happened for sure. But where they'll be feeling a little bit more confident is that they drew with Spain in December last year, and they beat them the previous December.
Defensively stronger than Belgium, would you say?
Yes.
A little bit more consistent.
Yes, and he's changed things up. He flips between 4 and 3 at the back. So they like as I said for the first half, they are really. I mean, really, until that last mad 10 minutes, they were pretty structurally sound.
Yeah.
They were cutting out the spaces and everything, and they have the ability to kind of go long, I think, as well. So I think they have a good opportunity of keeping it tight.
Okay, well, definitely excitement still in Group B, which is great. I can't remember which game we're doing. I think we're doing Italy, because we haven't seen Italy, so we must be doing Italy, Spain. We must be doing Italy, Spain. We are doing Italy, Spain, and I just got my accreditation through because I applied for cancellation, and I've managed to get accreditation for that.
Wasn't that good that you got that before that happened?
Wow, so yes, oh my god, yeah, so I've managed to get a seat. I was originally rejected, and now I've got it. Amazing. Tomorrow we are off to Lucerne, which I think is only about 45 minutes away, which is great, but what's not great is it's a 9 p.m. kickoff. It is Group C. It is to watch Sweden take on Poland, which I'm quite excited about because I just think Poland could at least get a goal in this game, if not something out of it. Denmark then will be facing Germany. In the earlier kickoff, we could potentially be seeing another team through and another team out. After Group C, we might not. Definitely still all to play for. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow night to discuss it all. I'm hoping for more drama, but you're not writing, are you?
Tomorrow.
On the whistle, remember that?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'm hoping for more drama,
do.
last minute drama. Love it. Because it was very exciting today. Enjoy it if you're watching it. Otherwise, we will chat to you and give you all of the lowdown of what has gone on day 7. Stick with us. Chat soon.